Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kryptonized. We're in Amsterdam at the big Bitcoin event. A bunch of Bitcoin maxis. I don't think I've met anyone like me that likes the rest of crypto yet. But joining me today is Mauricio. He has a product that allows you to help save Bitcoin to make interest payments on Bitcoin. We'll get into that. But before we do, why don't you quickly introduce yourself before we jump in?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Mauricio. I'm the co-founder and chief strategy officer at Ledn. I'm originally from Venezuela, and I say that because it's a large reason of why I got into Bitcoin. I got my hyperinflation education very early on, and it was pretty much a no-brainer when I saw Bitcoin. So that's a bit about myself. And then I was a miner before I was in the lending space. We started lending dollars back with Bitcoin because we didn't want to sell our Bitcoin. And that's how Ledn came up. And today we have a bunch of other products, like you mentioned, where people earn interest. That's the most popular product today. And yeah, happy to chat about it.
I mean, a lot of people have heard about DeFi, but what about Bitcoin? How are people making money off of Bitcoin? Not just saving it, but making money off of it.
Yeah, so effectively, that is the product we offer at Ledn, which is at the beginning, we started offering people dollar loans backed by their Bitcoin. But a lot of people said, I don't really need a loan. I just want my Bitcoin to work for me. I want my Bitcoin to generate something for me. Do you have a product for that? And 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we didn't, but we built it. And what we do today effectively is a person deposits Bitcoin at Ledn. They earn 6% on the first 0.1 Bitcoin, 2% on any balances above that today. That's today's rates. And then what we do is we aggregate those Bitcoins and we lend those out to institutions that are market making on the other side. And that helps keep the Bitcoin prices, keep liquidity kind of high on the exchanges. And it basically rewards the depositors by, it helps both sides. And we sit on the middle and we take a small spread.
Okay, so it's what do you call that? I mean, it's DeFi on Ethereum and other channels. What is the Bitcoin community calling that?
Well, effectively today, the people know them as interest accounts or savings accounts, and they work. On the back end, they work somewhat similar to what a bank does.
Yeah,
they take their assets, they aggregate them, and they lend them out on the other side. Yeah. And with that comes some risk, of course. And as many may or may not know, like not all lending platforms are created equal. It is a space where people really need to do their diligence and make sure they're comfortable with how this yield is getting generated. But the product is undeniably popular, and people really want it. The demand is there. I just think that people are educating themselves like in real time, and more people are focusing on return of capital rather than return on capital. Yeah. So it's basically not all lending platforms are the same. Higher interest rates generally are associated with much higher risks. And so the more conservative platforms will typically pay not as high as what some of the more extreme ones.
So what about other products on Bitcoin that you've seen that are pretty cool that this audience should be interested in that makes money off of Bitcoin?
So basically, you can have the Bitcoin work for you, in which case you are basically earning an interest on the Bitcoin that you're depositing. The other one is people basically borrow against the Bitcoin to invest in other assets. So a common trade that we saw from our clients last year was borrowing from your Bitcoin to buy a house, to buy real estate. Yeah. And so we actually productized that into the first Bitcoin mortgage. So with our Bitcoin loan, if you have $1 million worth of Bitcoin, you can borrow $500,000. But with the Bitcoin mortgage, you can use the same $1 million to buy $1 million house because we take the house as collateral. So it makes your Bitcoin go further and it diversifies your portfolio.
And you still get to hold on to Bitcoin and see the appreciation?
Correct. Okay. End of the house.
Yeah, end of the house, hopefully.
In this market.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? All right, is there anything else you want to tell the audience about what you guys are doing or Bitcoin in general?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of work outside of North America and Europe. Most of our clients and most of our loans go to Latin America. That's a part of the world where we are very focused on. They don't have the same access to credit as North Americans do. There is no unsecured lending. There's no credit score. They need to have an asset, and that asset requires a large down payment. In the local inflation environment, it's very hard to save the critical mass to make that down payment. But with Bitcoin, you can DCA. You can buy it in little bits and chunks, and you don't have to wait, which is what kills you on the inflation side. Yeah. And so Bitcoin-backed lending, I think, has a much brighter and bigger future outside of developed nations because most people haven't had access to single-digit dollar financing ever, and now they do.
I mean, it's very well said. Outside of let's say the European Union, outside of the United States, a lot of these products have never been available to these people. So That's fantastic news. Is there anything else that you're planning that you want to announce here?
We are planning a lot of exciting stuff. We just acquired Arch Novum, which is a regulated broker dealer in Canada. That transaction is subject to regulatory approval, so we're very excited. And because we've navigated recent events really well, and we were very successful raising funds last year, we're very well capitalized, and we're continuing to look at opportunities to keep growing and when it makes sense. So you're going to hear a lot from us in the next little bit.
All right. With that, how do people get a hold of you?
I basically live on Twitter at Cryptonomista, and at Hodl with Ledn is our company, and our website is ledn.io, Ledn.io. And I write our weekly blogs. You don't need to be a Ledn client to get it. You can go subscribe at ledn.io/blog.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Hello, Kryptonize fans. I've got a token for you. We've had a lot of tokens come on the show. Some we like, some we don't. But we really like Tetragard. Why? Because it is a wrapped coin with Pax G, with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and this rewards token called Quadrant. So you get it all wrapped up in kind of a one-click buy at the website below. And if you hold on to it, you get rewards that you could sell back to the Ethereum blockchain and get more Ethereum just for holding what I'd liken to an ETF. So again, it's Tetragard. Check it out. This is a no-brainer to invest in, especially what's going on in this world.